What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Islam Makhachev is now officially the UFC's pound for pound #1 fighter. Following his dominant win over JDM over the weekend, Islam has dethroned Ilya and claimed the top spot in the rankings. The shift has already sparked huge debate across the MMA community, with fans and fighters weighing in on who truly deserves the #1 position. As the dust settles, Islam's rise continues to be one of the strongest storylines in the sport, especially after consistently proving he can handle elite competition and deliver when it matters most. While the pound for pound discussion heats up, Bryce Mitchell has stepped in with his own wild take on the conversation. In a recent interview, he explained why, in his mind, he's actually the real pound for pound best fighter in the world. When asked who he ranks as #1, Bryce didn't hesitate. Me, he said confidently. He doubled down on his statement, saying that the true meaning of pound for pound goes far beyond weight classes or technical matchups. According to him, if there were truly no rules, he believes he would come out on top against anyone. Bryce went on to clarify that in a ruleless scenario, he could take on heavyweights, use whatever tools he needed, and survive in situations far beyond a regulated cage fight. He joked that pound for pound to him means he could even grab a gun and beat everyone in the woods, emphasizing that if everything were allowed, he'd be the most dangerous man in the UFC. The combination of his confidence, humor, and unique perspective has already started making waves online, adding yet another layer to the ongoing pound for pound debate that has fans arguing across social media. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news, Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen admitted they genuinely felt bad for JDM during his fight with Islam Makhachev. They both pointed out that from the very beginning of the bout, something about JDM's expression told a different story than what fans are used to seeing from him. Cormier explained that the pain on JDM's face was hard to ignore, and the constant grimace made it clear that he was dealing with something more than just the usual damage that comes with a high-level fight. He said that the grimace wasn't just a reaction to a strike or a moment of pressure. Instead, it was a look that silently said, "I'm hurt," and that hit Cormier on a deeper level. Cormier added that it wasn't even the fighter in him reacting, nor the analyst. It was the father. He said that as he watched JDM push through visible discomfort, a part of him wanted to step in, check on him, and ask if he needed help, the same way he would with his own children. Seeing a young fighter show that kind of raw pain stirred something emotional in him, and he felt a genuine concern that went beyond the sport. Chael Sonnen echoed the same sentiment. He admitted he felt a sense of sadness while watching the fight unfold because JDM didn't just look hurt, he looked dejected. Sonnen explained that JDM's body language showed someone who was battling not just the physical challenge of facing Islam, but also the internal frustration of knowing something wasn't right. To Sonnen, JDM looked almost broken in moments, and that made the entire situation tough to watch. Both analysts agreed that whatever JDM was dealing with, it clearly affected him throughout the fight, and they couldn't help but feel sympathy as they watched it play out. Moving on to another news, Demetrius Johnson believes that JDM may have been dealing with an injury during his fight with Islam Makhachev. Johnson pointed out that throughout the bout, JDM's facial expression suggested something wasn't right. He explained that the grimace JDM showed repeatedly made him feel as though the Australian fighter was not operating at 100%. Johnson noted that he could be wrong, but something about the way JDM moved and reacted made him think the injury might have affected the entire performance. He added that when a fighter is making that kind of face consistently, especially in a high-stakes fight, it usually signals discomfort or pain that goes beyond the usual damage absorbed in a matchup. Johnson emphasized that JDM is known for being tough and composed under pressure, so seeing those reactions raised some real questions in his mind. He suggested that JDM might have been pushing through something significant, trying to stay competitive despite whatever was bothering him. As the discussion grows online, fans are now re-watching the fight, looking closely at the subtle signs Johnson mentioned. Whether JDM entered the octagon with a pre-existing issue or suffered something early in the fight, the speculation has added another layer to the conversation surrounding Islam's win and the overall dynamics of the matchup. Moving on to another news, Kamaru Usman reacted to Leon Edwards getting knocked out by Carlos Prates over the weekend, and his response showed just how brutal and unforgiving this sport can be. Usman shook his head as he talked about what happened, saying that MMA doesn't care who you are or what you've accomplished. One moment you're on top of the world, and the next moment everything can come crashing down. He pointed out that the fight game has no mercy, loyalty, and what happened to Leon was another reminder of how unpredictable things truly are. As Usman and Henry discussed the situation, they went through the chain of dramatic moments that have shaped Leon's career. They brought up how Jorge Masvidal famously left someone stretched out, then mentioned how Leon once delivered the head kick heard around the world when he knocked out Usman. That moment completely shifted the welterweight division, but now the tables have turned again, with Leon being the one caught clean by Carlos Prates. It was a wild reminder that no matter how skilled or dominant a fighter is, one perfect strike can end everything. Usman said that the knockout looked bad, and he wasn't exaggerating. He described Leon's eyes rolling into the back of his head, emphasizing how rough the moment appeared in real time. He said that even if someone avoids shots early, eventually the sport catches up, and someone will land that decisive blow. Usman admitted the whole scene sucked to watch, especially knowing how much Leon has accomplished and how high the stakes are for every fight at this level. He added that this is the real nature of the fight game. You never know when it's your time. The sport doesn't warn you, it doesn't slow down, and it doesn't give second chances in the moment. One mistake, one misread, or one perfectly timed strike can change everything. Moving on to another news, Ali Abdelaziz revealed that the long-term plan for Khabib was always to move up to welterweight. He explained that in the back of his mind, he always envisioned Khabib eventually competing at 170 pounds once he had fully established his dominance at lightweight. However, Ali said that timing and loyalty played a huge role in why the move never happened. At the time, Kamaru Usman was the reigning champion, and Khabib and Usman were extremely close friends. Their bond and mutual respect made the idea of fighting each other impossible. Ali emphasized that Khabib is different from most fighters. He isn't driven solely by belts or legacy in the same way others are. Loyalty means everything to him, and he wasn't willing to chase the welterweight title if it meant taking something meaningful away from a close friend. Ali compared him to Islam and pointed out that Islam has faced similar situations. Islam was supposed to fight Baal, but he turned the fight down because he didn't want to take an opportunity away from a teammate he regularly trains with. For Islam, friendship and loyalty also matter, and he didn't want to interfere with Baal's path in the division. Ali added that Baal is no longer the champion after losing to JDM, and that shift opened up new opportunities. He said Islam was fully prepared for that moment and could have stepped in if things had aligned differently. Ali highlighted how strong, dominant, and physically imposing Islam has become, explaining that he is more than capable of holding his own against the best welterweights in the world. According to Ali, it's clear Islam has the size, the skill, and the mentality to be successful even at 170, but timing and relationships have shaped the decisions behind the scenes in ways fans don't always see. Moving on to another news, Sean O'Malley shared his thoughts on Khabib retiring early and how different the sport might look today if Khabib had continued fighting. O'Malley believes that if Khabib had stayed active, he could have accomplished everything Islam Makhachev has achieved and possibly even more. He said he's sure Khabib feels a deep sense of satisfaction watching Islam become a dominant champion and seeing his pupil carry on the legacy he built, but O'Malley admitted he sometimes wonders what Khabib could have done if he had pushed further, especially since he had the skills, the discipline, and the momentum to climb even higher. O'Malley explained that retiring early takes Khabib out of certain debates, especially regarding the greatest 155-pound fighter of all time. He said Khabib had the potential to move up to 170, dominate there, and silence every doubt anyone ever had. According to O'Malley, there's no telling how far Khabib might have gone if he continued fighting into his early or mid-30s. He reflected on how scary it can feel to wonder whether you reached your full potential, and he admitted it's something he thinks about often in his own career. He said that right now, between the ages of 30 and 35, he has to push as hard as he can, stay active, fight consistently, and give everything he has, no matter how far he eventually goes. O'Malley wondered if Khabib ever thinks about whether he had more left in the tank, especially since coaching is something you can do well into your later years. Fighting is different. The window is short, and once it's gone, you can't get it back. He added that Islam is smart enough to understand all of this, and he believes Islam could probably succeed even at middleweight. In O'Malley's eyes, Islam is skilled enough to beat most guys at 185 simply because of how well-rounded, disciplined, and dominant he is everywhere the fight goes. He also talked about Khamzat, calling him a bigger, more physical version of Islam, and said that a matchup between them would be incredible to watch. O'Malley imagined it as a dream grappling battle, the kind of fight hardcore fans would love. He said seeing those two on the ground, battling for every position, every scramble, and every transition would be something special and completely unique in today's MMA landscape. Moving on to another news, Carlos Prates Prates has now officially called out Islam Makhachev after his massive win at UFC 322. Prates, who shocked the MMA world by knocking out Leon Edwards in the first round, didn't hesitate to put his name in the same conversation as the lightweight champion. Speaking with full confidence, Prates said, "I'm the easiest fight for Islam because Kamaru Usman, he's a bad man. He's already damn good at wrestling. I'm different. I get taken down the most. Come fight me. It will be easy for you." His tone carried that mix of humor and challenge, almost daring Islam to take the bait. The two actually had a few friendly interactions leading up to UFC 322. Islam himself seemed genuinely surprised by the nature of Prates' knockout over Leon, especially considering how much Prates is known to smoke. When the two met backstage, Islam couldn't help but laugh and react with disbelief. "Let's go. Nutella cake, bro. Nutella cake," he joked as they shared a light moment. "Thank you, buddy. Thank you." But even through the jokes, Islam acknowledged the magnitude of what Prates accomplished. He beat former champion, like clear knockout. They're both very good, very tough, young, and I surprised how these guys who smoke all day beat the former champion, That moment captured the genuine respect between them. Even if Prates was clearly angling for a future matchup, Prates' knockout wasn't just a highlight, it was a statement. Leon Edwards is not someone who goes out easily, and doing it in the first round put an immediate spotlight on Prates as a real threat in the division. His unique fighting style, combined with his personality, has quickly made him one of the more entertaining figures rising through the ranks. Islam's reaction, meanwhile, showed that even he wasn't expecting Prates to deliver such a flawless finish. Though Islam is still focused on defending his lightweight title against top contenders like Arman, Ilya, and others, the idea of facing someone like Carlos Prates adds another intriguing layer to his future. Prates might not have the same wrestling pedigree as Khabib or the ferocity of Khamzat, but he's unpredictable, powerful, and surprisingly calm under pressure. And now, by calling out Islam directly and claiming he'd be the easiest fight, he has inserted himself right into the center of MMA discussions across the world. Moving on to another news, Paddy Pimblett had some sharp words for Justin Gaethje after Gaethje recently said that if he doesn't receive the next lightweight title shot, he will retire. Paddy didn't hold back, saying Gaethje has been acting like what he called a propper, and he made it clear he wasn't impressed with the way Gaethje has been handling things in the media. Paddy explained that he has always respected Gaethje and doesn't enjoy criticizing him, especially since he's a legend of the sport and has given fans some of the most exciting fights in lightweight history, but he felt that Gaethje demanding a title shot and saying the UFC owes him is the wrong approach. Paddy pointed out that in his opinion, no fighter is owed anything. He said you earn your opportunities through performances, not by making demands. He argued that in his last win, he beat a higher ranked opponent in more dominant fashion than Gaethje did in his most recent fight, yet he isn't out here saying the UFC owes him a title shot. Instead, he emphasized that fighters have to stay active, compete, and prove they deserve those opportunities. He also mentioned Arman, saying Arman hasn't fought in around 18 months, and fighters who aren't staying active shouldn't expect to jump straight into a title fight either. Paddy then shifted to the possibility of fighting Ilya next. He said the storyline between them is already built in, and fans have been waiting for that matchup for years. Even though he doesn't like Ilya and would prefer he wasn't a two-division champion, Paddy admitted it actually benefits him that Ilya won the belt. If Charles had won, Paddy believes he would have been forced to fight someone else, and the chance to continue his rivalry with Ilya might have been delayed. But now, with Ilya holding the lightweight title, everything is set up perfectly. The tension, the history, and the personal rivalry are all there, ready to be turned into a massive fight. Paddy said he doesn't understand why the fight hasn't already been announced or signed. To him, it feels like the perfect matchup, especially coming off UFC 322. He said everything is aligned, and it makes complete sense for the UFC to book him against Ilya next. Paddy ended by saying he'll be watching closely over the next few weeks to see how things unfold, but for now, he's ready and waiting for the call.